Okay, we're going to conclude our discussion of civil rights by focusing on women and gays. So we'll start with women. So the big key part in women's struggle for equality is the 19th Amendment. And this was the constitutional amendment that gave women the right to vote. And that was a key moment in the women's equality movement. There have been some other aspects that I just want to touch on briefly here. There's a court case of Reed versus Reed. And the significance of this court case is that what was determined is that the states and the government cannot arbitrarily select one gender to be preferred in laws. Now, let me give you some background on the case to help you understand that a little bit. What happened is that the Reeds were a divorced couple, and they had a child who died. And the law of the state automatically named the father to be the executor of the estate for the child. And what the courts found is that that arbitrary designation was not valid, not constitutional. Then moving on, you've had certain aspects of future legislation like Title IX of the Education Act, which mandates that if programs receive federal funding at an educational level, they need to provide equal access for women and men to sports and athletics. So that's why you see a lot of high school and collegiate sports where women and girls are able to participate in these activities. That was a big movement for women's rights at the university level and providing a little bit of a more level playing field and access to athletics. And finally, let's talk about the new frontier in civil rights, and that's gay rights. And there's been a lot of stuff happening over the last 15 to 20 years when it comes to gay rights. And we start with the Defense of Marriage Act, or otherwise known as DOMA. And this was passed in '96 by the Republican-led Congress, signed by Democratic President Bill Clinton, and it basically says that the federal government will only recognize a marriage as that between a man and a woman. And this has been in the news in recent years because President Obama decided that he would not have his Justice Department enforce this law. He felt, and his Justice Department concluded, along with his Attorney General, that it was unconstitutional, and we currently see it being challenged in the Supreme Court. Another law that was passed during the Clinton era was Don't Ask, Don't Tell. This was a military aspect where the military essentially banned gay people from serving, and what they did is they said, we will not ask about your sexual orientation, but you cannot tell about your sexual orientation. So if you kept your sexual preferences private, then you would be allowed to serve. But once it became known that you were homosexual, you could be dismissed from the military. That has been done away with as a policy. The military no longer uses that as a policy. So that was a victory for gay rights advocates. And then in California, there's the issue of Prop 8. Prop 8 was a ballot initiative in 2008 that banned gay marriage in the state of California. What makes California unique is that prior to this proposition, our California State Supreme Court had deemed that gay couples had the right to marry in the state of California. So there was a stretch of time where gay couples in California were getting legally married. And then Prop 8 came and took that right away. So it's been challenged to the Supreme Court on the basis that it violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, that every state shall provide to its citizens the equal protection of the law. And the Supreme Court in 2012 is weighing whether or not to overturn Prop 8 and allow gay marriage, and in doing so, should they allow it just in the state of California or make a broader reading of the Constitution to apply to the national government.